Actually, the song we ought to be singing here is The Peanut Vendor, because we're in the back fence at the intersection of Thompson Street and Bleecker Street, and this is where the peanuts flow like water and the water flows like cappuccino. After all, it is Greenwich Village. And, I almost forgot. My name is Robert Dunn. This show is Poet to Poet, and our poets today include Bridget Murnahan, who is the owner.
No, I'm not.
You're not?
No.
Oh.
I'm the cocktail waitress poet.
Ah, yes, of course, the cocktail waitress poet. Break out the orthopedic shoes. I have to stand corrected here. And we also have Sheryl Simler. And they're going to entertain you and enlighten you with all sorts of material. And I think we're going to start with Sheryl.
Okay.
Hello, Sheryl. Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to
Glad
Poet
be
to
here.
Poet. You're a poet performer, as I understand it, and you sing too. You've been published in many leading literary magazines, including Nomad's Choir, I think, and the New Press. And you've been featured all over the New York metropolitan area for the last 13 years,
Yes, in 13
which
years.
is you started in elementary school, as I recall. And,
No, not that young. No
All
hiding,
right.
no hiding.
Well, let's do us a little poem here, shall we?
Okay. I recently had the privilege to read love poetry and sing at somebody's wedding celebration, two poets actually, and it inspired this poem, which is untitled. I am neither ash nor virgin wool. My skin, though well attended, lags a bit behind. I sit by the window and gaze at the moon, coolly withstanding the lure of time. From which garden shall my feast begin? In which meadow's bed shall I lie? Paling and blue my heart still sings, be mine, dear, be mine, be mine.
Well, I think I can manage that.
Thank you.
All right ahead.
And now I'm going to get more serious.
Uh-oh, what'd you have in mind?
I'm going to start with a small untitled poem and then lead into another one. Someone ought to write a poem about apathy, but I don't care to. Someone ought to write a poem about apathy, but why should it be me? So, it is at great risk of stirring controversy that I'd like to read the
Excuse
poem.
me, did you say controversy?
Controversy, yes.
Well, we
That's what
we
we're
do
here for.
we do believe in letting all sorts of people have their say, no matter what the topic, as long as the language meets the broadcast standards. So, fire away, Sheryl.
Okay. This is a poem that was inspired by the 2020 interview recently that Barbara Walters had with Dr. Louis Farrakhan. And to preface that, I'd like to say, although I'm not a big fan of Farrakhan, I do feel that he raises some valid points. And this is the poem that was inspired. It's called Owning Up. Farrakhan's soft-spoken begins at last to get through. A people wronged perhaps need most of all acknowledgement, some restitution, just like the adult survivor of child abuse forever awaiting the perpetrator's confession. Say it now, America, before it's too late. Say it louder and less defensively. We, too many of us anyway, almost broke the soul of the black man with our selfish ways. Some of us have been Jews who should have learned from our own bludgeoning. Many were almost as white as the cotton they picked blacks to tend to, the good Southern Christians, and the list goes on and on. I am only one Jewish poet with a bit of black blood no one will speak of plainly. That denial worries me. National guilt, left too long unattended, brews like cancer in morning coffee. Perhaps only venom can wake us now.
Well, the thing about Dr. Farrakhan that quite frankly frustrates me is there are a lot of events in history he's talking about, and what he forgets is when he's blaming all the Jews for that, a lot of Jews were in Eastern Europe dodging Cossacks and pogroms
Mm-hmm.
at that time, and I wish he'd remember that once in a while. Oh
Yes.
well.
Well, that's true. As a Jewish poet,
Um,
also, I'm very
Is it
concerned about
is-
anti-Semitism as well.
is it always the hot issues that get you writing, or are there other things that inspire you?
Very few hot issues that get me writing. It comes from all different places, sometimes from dreams, but this is one of the very few social, political poems I've written.
Uh-huh. Pardon me for a moment while I throw a peanut shell on the floor here.
That's where they
is
belong.
This is part of the tradition here at the back fence, and we'll ask Bridget about that a little later in the program. Anyway, now it's time for your next poem.
I wish I could stomp the peanut.
No, you'll disturb the
Okay.
microphone, Crystal. We don't want to do that.
All right. For a change of pace. I just saw you with that good woman on your arm. I just saw you with that good woman on your arm. I just saw you with that good woman on your arm. Leave me alone. I don't need no Romeo. Touching base. Just thought you might like to know, while you were hung up and sucked in by your workaholic ways, slipping in and out of computer terminals, accessing new accounts, not bothering to pay me some mind or return my calls, I have at last, and without a moment's hesitation, joined a band of cross-eyed gypsies taken to robbing banks and pool hall parties, sailed a boat to China on a one-way ticket with my hip-hoppin' lover, and we ain't coming back.
Is it anybody I know?
No, and I wouldn't tell.
Oh, I think I know who it is, but in case I'm wrong, you can write in for Cheryl's phone number,
Oh,
care of this station.
Thanks a lot.
Well, I didn't say we'd give the right one.
All right.
All right, let's plow right ahead.
Okay. This, on a humorous note also, is called Yearning for Love with Zorba.
Ah.
Miserable, I miserloo down Broadway and settle for Argo. I yearn for love with Zorba. Call me Bubelina and I trample the finest grapes for you. Pile my hair up like Melina McCory. Bake a moussaka to die for.
Whoa. That calls for another peanut shell. Would you do the honors?
Oh,
Just
yes.
toss it right out.
Okay.
Did you make a wish? What-
Yeah, I didn't realize you were supposed to do that.
What did you wish for?
I never tell.
Ah, then it can't come true.
Well, all right, I'd like to win this contest that I entered at the National Library of Poetry.
Oh.
I am a semifinalist so far, and it is called Hausfrau. Should I read it now?
All right.
Okay.
We can't influence the judges in any way, you know. That's,
But we can try.
all
right.
Well, you can try. You're better at it than I am.
Hausfrau. You invite me in unwedded bliss to live in your still bachelor pad. You bestow upon me the honor of lifting your dirty socks from the floor, the privilege of labor over a hot stove, the thrill of a bubble bath of dishes and pots lined in grime. All this and more. What else could I ever wish for? Why nag and fetch when I could be mopping?
I resent that. My socks never get dirty.
Well, it's
My
not bad.
overcoat, that's another thing. But, I just backed up against some wet paint on the way over here today, which is incredibly frustrating. So, the relationships do play a part in your writing.
Oh yeah, relationships often inspire work.
What's your big ambition right now in writing?
My big ambition in writing?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I don't know, I guess just to keep doing it and get more widely published, and I have a lot of diversity, but I'd like to also write more social and political things and do some playwriting.
Got any hot ideas that the audience can steal?
Well, I was working on a piece called Diary Dearest, which is about adolescent diary entries that talk about what it's like in these times growing up.
I used to do my diary in pictures. That's the thing.
With no words?
Hieroglyphics. Nobody could figure out what I was talking about,
Very
and frankly, it eliminates lawsuits that way if they ever get published.
It's not a bad idea.
Even posthumous ones. Do you have one more little poem that you can slip on us there?
Well, I have one by memory. It's one of the first poems I did, actually, and it's called Bankrupt Dreams.
Uh-huh.
I think I've done it here, in fact.
Ah.
Flying around like a bald-headed, beer-bellied American eagle, you finally zoom in for a smooth landing in somebody else's love nest, while I, a forlorn, hot-hearted little mamala, belts out enough blues to depress all of 125th Street. Cinderella, glass slipper promises of yesteryear fade into my memory's bank, unable to accumulate even enough interest to buy a Tootsie Roll.
Not even that much? Great grief. Well, that calls for another peanut shell. I think I'll do this one myself.
Me too.
All right. Not the entire peanut, Sheryl, just the shell. Anyway, Sheryl Simler, I want to thank you for being on Poet to Poet this episode.
Thank you.
And in a moment, we'll be back with Bridget Murnahan. So stay with us.